it's been a huge proponent. When you talk about disabilities, there's obviously physical disabilities, and there's also some cognitive and other types of disabilities, right? There's different types of them out there. And I believe that the online world and what we're doing in terms of podcasting and all these types of things and the technology make a huge difference. It creates accessibility, where you're in one city and I'm in another. Us getting together right now for a coffee is impossible. We just can't do it, even if we wanted to. But over this method, over this medium, we can. And right now, I know with people with physical disabilities, getting mobility out right now, using Wheel-Trans or other services to try and get around, or whatever it is, public transit even, that's a challenge. So I believe that these platforms have given, and as an able-bodied person, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe and I hope that this has added more accessibility to, a wider market of people, or a wider market of connection and things like that. Am I on the right track?
Absolutely. I always live by the mantra that inclusion is the gateway to independence. So any way we can include more people, I'm all for it, for sure.
Absolutely. And the weird thing is, it's actually not weird, but the thing is that in the online space where I am a lot, there's a lot of people that would say that they have some sort of a disability, be it cognitive disability. If you want to put ADHD or any of those as a possible issue, like my nephew has some pretty interesting, things that he's had to experience and get over. And the online space and this technology has really assisted in that way, right? So there's a lot of opportunity here, and I think we have to take it further. What I think is, before the pandemic, we didn't take this seriously enough, this inclusion and accessibility. And I think we're seeing a lot more of it going forward.
I think that's a great question. I think neurodiversity, disability, even differences in formation, like the Children's Craniofacial Awareness Association here in the United States is something that I support. Financially, verbally, I'm always getting the word out. Kids Craniofacial Association, super important for children that are born with different facial differences. I think neurodiversity is something that's becoming a hot topic. I think disability is something that we need to have more dialogue on, honestly. I think neurodiversity is the next thing that we really need to start bringing to the forefront. In my classroom, when I've had students who are neurodiverse or who have disabilities, we have that's part of our class family, and we just move forward, and this is who we have, and this is how we work. I think, though, that perhaps for some people that there's an underlying fear that they will say or do something wrong. And I think sometimes that fear in many of the issues we've addressed today is the bottom line as to why conversations haven't moved forward. And I hope that we continue to have courage and vulnerability in bringing those issues to light.
I think there are a few, and I'd start with something fundamental and way upstream. And that is that I recommend that all businesses understand that the most important thing they can start with is a definition of reality. So there was a Herman Miller CEO back in the day. His name was Max Dupree, and he said the most important thing you can do as a leader is to define reality for your business. And for us, we defined reality for our business to include making sure that we had a full range of the talent available to us coming from our community. And that meant looking in places that were looking to attract members of groups who had not been traditionally well represented in automotive retail. So I guess we'll start there. And then once you've made that commitment and the managers that are working alongside you endorse that approach, then it's very important that you're communicating with applicants who are included in those groups you're trying to attract to your business. So one of the recommendations I have when you run a recruiting ad is to make sure that you specifically mention the kinds of hiring practices you have and the kind of people that you're looking for. So as an example, all of our recruiting ads talk about our diverse workforce and mention that we're specifically interested in attracting women and people of color and people of other groups that have not been well represented in automotive retail. And we want those people to be excited and invited, particularly to hire, to apply for the positions that we're hiring for. I think it starts by finding companies that are interested in progressive hiring. So in other words, I'm trying to think of this in reverse instead of as an employer, the role that I usually find myself in. I'm thinking about this in terms of if I were a member of that community, how would I want to go about finding a job? Or if I were an advocate, how would I want to create some kind of pipeline into a company for people like that? And I think it starts with who are the progressive companies in the community. I'll give you an example. If you go to our website, planetsubaru.com, you can reach me directly. My website, my email address is right there. And in a lot of companies, it's relatively easy to find an executive or the chief executive of the company to make an appeal to that person and ask to be considered or included in even if there's no existing formal system that company has.